Welcome to today's webinar on LIHWAP benefit determination and notification. My name is Mitch Nevada, and I'm a program specialist with OCS. This webinar will discuss the processes after an applicant has been determined eligible for LIHWAP assistance. The purpose of this webinar is to support LIHWAP recipients with procedural considerations related to applications, intake of potential LIHWAP clients, eligibility determination of potential LIHWAP clients, and benefit determination and notifications. This webinar coincides with an intake and benefits resource that OCS has recently released. The webinar will take you through the third section of this resource, which covers benefit determination and notification. Both the resource and webinar are for use by any staff involved in the LIHWAP program, including, but not limited to, intake workers, LIHWAP coordinators, local agency and/or subrecipient staff. Throughout this webinar, we will refer to LIHWAP grantees as recipients. A recipient is defined as the LIHWAP lead agency for a state, territory, or tribe. Recipient is synonymous with grantee, a term used previously in OCS communications. Additionally, you may hear us refer to subrecipients. A subrecipient is an organization that receives a portion or subaward of the LIHWAP grant funding, usually through a contract or a grant, from the LIHWAP lead agency for a state, territory, or tribe. While the LIHWAP lead agency retains responsibility and accountability for all activities carried out under the grant award, the state, territory, or tribe may select subrecipient organizations to serve as local administering agencies who are subject to all terms and conditions of the award. By the end of today's webinar, you should have a better understanding of the benefit determination process, including developing a benefit matrix and establishing policies and procedures for benefit determination, household priority groups and how to address their needs, the process for benefit notification, and the development and notification of fair hearing procedures. Before beginning our discussion, we will review who is eligible for LIHWAP assistance. Income eligibility means that a household has qualified for assistance based on an intake worker's review of the total household income of all household members and any other eligibility criteria required by the state, territory, or tribe, plus a determination that the total household income is below the eligibility threshold established by the state, territory, or tribe. For example, at or below 150% of the federal poverty line, at or below 60% of the state median income, or another lower poverty threshold established by the state, territory, or tribe. Grant recipients can take a hybrid approach based on the size of the household, but that may not exceed either 150% of the federal poverty line or 60% of the state median income. For purposes of LIHWAP, categorical eligibility refers to a determination that a household is eligible for LIHWAP assistance based on enrollment in another means-tested program, including the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TANF, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, Supplemental Security Income, SSI, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP, or means-tested veterans programs. OCS recognizes that the available grant resources may not be sufficient to fully address the need within states, territories, and tribal areas. Recipients may identify priority eligibility for vulnerable populations based on local needs and may focus resources on areas of concentrated need or may customize outreach strategies to address hard-to-reach populations or particularly at-risk populations, such as aging adults, individuals with disabilities, and households with young children. Additionally, if a large number of households have significant arrearages and are at risk of disconnection of household water services or have already had services disconnected, recipients may place an immediate priority on the payment of arrearages as a first stage of program implementation. Recipients may then pay currently due bills to assure affordability of household drinking water and wastewater services as a next stage of program implementation if resources permit. Once an applicant is determined to be eligible for LIHWAP assistance, the next step is to determine the household benefit amount. A household benefit is a payment approved by the recipient or subrecipient for applicant households and made on behalf of approved households to public water systems and wastewater utility companies to address arrearages and/or make a full or partial payment of a currently due water bill. All LIHWAP recipients must establish their own written policies and procedures for intake workers to follow when deciding the benefit amount for each household. The appropriate section of the LIHWAP policy or operation manual will provide key definitions and steps that intake workers must follow when making benefit determinations. Written policies and procedures are typically reviewed by independent monitors and auditors that check on your program's compliance with federal rules. The LIHWAP policy or operation manual addresses both equity and efficiency simultaneously. This means grant recipients must address all types of eligible households, including households that rent their homes or households that own their homes in rural, suburban, and urban areas. If processes are still being established to efficiently address any of the above households, funds should be set aside to ensure equitable distribution among eligible households. Having clear, equitable, and standard written procedures will help enable intake workers to be consistent and accurate in how they determine benefit amounts, which will help reduce the number of claims from applicants that appeal benefit determinations, also known as a fair hearing request. All applicants are entitled to make a fair hearing request, and all LIHWAP recipients must make fair hearing requests available to applicants. There are several important rules that a LIHWAP recipient's benefit policies should address, including, but not limited to, clearly stating whether there is a minimum and/or maximum benefit amount for which households can qualify, listing all allowable charges that the benefit can cover, for example, reconnection fees, late fees, interest, lien removal fees, etc., noting timeframes for determining benefit amounts, providing a process for how to document the benefit calculation and build that into the eligibility determination software, if used, explaining procedures for notifying households of their benefit determinations and building that into the eligibility determination software, if used, outlining procedures by which applicants can appeal their benefit determination, such as a request for a fair hearing. This includes the amount as well as the timeliness of the eligibility determination process. Incorporating the 3 priority groups outlined by the Office of Community Services. While all households that qualify for LIHWAP benefits must meet income eligibility requirements outlined in the LIHWAP terms and conditions, those that are disconnected or facing disconnections should receive a benefit amount that is sufficient to restore service or to ensure service is maintained. Therefore, a detailed benefit matrix is only suggested for those seeking assistance with rate reduction. Next, we'll discuss the household priority groups used for benefit determination. There are 3 LIHWAP household priority groups to consider when determining benefits. Priority Group 1, households with disconnected water services. Priority Group 2, households with pending disconnection. Priority Group 3, households seeking help with current water bills, no past due balance. We'll discuss these groups in detail on the upcoming slides. Recipients do not necessarily need a detailed benefit matrix for the first 2 household priority groups, because LIHWAP may be used to cover the full outstanding bill for a household in order to restore water services or prevent disconnection. However, a benefit matrix will need to be developed for the 3rd priority group. Priority Group 1 is households with disconnected water services. The initial priority is to target assistance first for those households whose services are already disconnected. Recipients may use a variety of interventions to achieve the expected outcome of restoring service. There are many interventions your team can use in coordination to achieve the outcome of restored service. This may include paying the entire amount past due, plus all required fees, or paying a portion of the outstanding balance and coordinating approval of other resources that can be used to bring the account current. Another intervention is paying a portion of past due amounts and negotiating reconnection of the service for 90 days or longer based on the LIHWAP benefit. Still, another intervention might include negotiating with vendors to get the household on a budget payment plan. The second priority group are the households with pending disconnection. They currently have service but are about to lose it because of non-payment. This means they have a disconnection notice, or they could have an outstanding balance, but have been protected by a disconnection moratorium that is about to expire. For this group, the expected outcome is to avoid a disruption of service regardless of how brief. The third and last priority group would be assisting households who have working service and are seeking help with current bills only, meaning they are not behind on their bills. It is for this last group of households that you will need some sort of benefit matrix or calculation to decide how to vary the amount of assistance for each of those households. A benefit matrix supports clear and consistent benefit determination. It is utilized to determine the amount of LIHWAP assistance eligible households receive. The benefit matrix is a vital tool which ensures program integrity. All staff working with LIHWAP clients should be familiar with the benefit matrix and know how to utilize it with eligible clients to determine benefit amounts. For the purposes of LIHWAP, the benefit matrix is a tool, such as a chart or a point system, that outlines which LIHWAP benefit amount will be available to different households based on required factors, such as household income, household size, and household water costs or needs, or water burden. For most recipients administering LIHEAP, the concept of a benefit matrix or payment matrix is familiar. As a first step in developing LIHWAP benefit policies, including a matrix for current bill assistance, recipients are encouraged to review current benefit matrices and policies related to LIHEAP and consider whether it is appropriate and feasible to adapt those policies for household water assistance. Some elements of existing LIHEAP benefit matrices will clearly differ from a water assistance program, such as household energy burden needing to be replaced with household water burden. Other policies and procedures may be transferable, such as household size and income. There are several ways to assign values to the factors you chose for your benefit matrix. Two of the most common ways are a point value system and a monetary value system. The point value system is based on relative costs assigned to each factor: income, number of eligible household members, water cost calculation, presence of vulnerable members, etc. A certain number of points will need to be assigned to each category and factor. The monetary value system is similar to the point value system, except that dollar amounts are assigned instead of point values. Please review the LIHWAP Information Memorandum 2021-01, Benefit Policy and Matrix Resources, Fiscal Year 2021, for complete information and examples of these two systems. Now, we'll review examples of the benefit matrix for the point and monetary value systems. Please note that this is an example, and your benefit matrix should meet the needs of your area. In this example, points were awarded for 4 factors: household income, household water burden, household members, and unemployment. This first factor awards points based on the household income. Each threshold using the state median income, or SMI, is associated with a different point value, with the lowest income group receiving the most points. The second factor awards points based on the household water burden. Household water burden is calculated as a percentage of the total household income. Each threshold is associated with a different point value, with the households with the most burden receiving the most points. The example matrix is continued on this slide. This third factor awards points based on the eligible household members. Each threshold is associated with a different point value, with the largest households receiving the most points. This example also includes an additional 5 points for each person above the 8-person household count. The fourth factor awards 25 points for each adult person in the household that lost a job since March 13, 2020, without cause, and who remains unemployed. Finally, you will calculate the total by adding the points from each factor across the matrix. Based on the total points received, there will be an assigned benefit amount as displayed in this table. In this example, there are 4 potential benefit amounts. Now we'll review 2 household examples using the example point value system matrix. Household A has 55% of the state median income, SMI, 3 eligible household members, and a 10% household water burden. There are no unemployed household members, so their total points are 25. This results in a $750 benefit amount. Household B has 45% of the state median income, and 9 eligible household members, and a 13% household water burden. There are 2 unemployed household members, so their total points are 55. This results in a $1,250 benefit amount. For this example, the maximum benefit is $1,250 for any point amount above 46. Additional points do not result in a higher benefit at this level. Now we'll review an example benefit matrix for the monetary value system, which utilizes similar factors as the point value system, but totals dollar amounts instead of points. This first factor awards points based on the household income. The household income is based on the federal poverty guidelines. Based on income and the number of household members, an amount is given. For example, a household with 3 eligible members at 130% of the federal poverty guidelines will receive $500 for this factor. The second factor awards points based on the household water burden. Based on household water burden and the number of household members, an amount is given. For example, a household with 3 eligible members at 12% of the household water burden will receive $750 for this factor. Next, you will add an additional amount based on the number of vulnerable members in the household. In this example, a vulnerable member is defined as a senior, young child, or disabled person. Your policies and procedures may provide guidance on how each of the categories are defined. In this example, a household with 1 vulnerable member will receive an additional $250. Now we'll review 2 household examples using the example matrix. Household A has 5 eligible household members, a total income of 115% of the federal poverty guideline, and a 7% household water burden. There are 3 vulnerable members. Added together, there's a $2,500 benefit. Household B has 2 eligible household members, a total income of 125% of the federal poverty guideline, and a 12% household water burden. There are 0 vulnerable members. Added together, there is a $1,500 benefit. When developing the benefit matrix, consider the following. Explore the design of a benefit matrix to allocate benefit amounts to help with current bills. There is no federally required methodology to assign values as long as recipients are consistent, fair, and have a clear and equitable rationale for assigning values with higher or lower point values than others. Therefore, the same benefit matrix should be applied to all households in your service region. We encourage you to analyze your benefit matrix policy and benefit matrix tool in the context of total funding available for program benefits. After an applicant's status has been determined, they will be notified. Notify LIHWAP applicants of their application status, whether it is approved or denied. If approved, you will include the amount of the benefit assistance. Recipients describe their notification process in their LIHWAP implementation plan. Recipients must ensure that LIHWAP clients are accurately notified of the amount of assistance paid in a timely manner. In developing the benefit notification process, please consider ensuring you have accurate contact information and preferred communication methods, such as mail, phone, email, or in person. Providing documentation of the benefit amount to the client that clearly states the benefit amount and how it was applied to the customer's account. Ensuring that the benefit notification also includes reference to the fair hearing procedure, and ensuring that they maintain documentation in client case files of when the benefit notification was delivered to the client and any follow-up activities with the client. Files can be maintained electronically or via hard copy. Next, we'll discuss the fair hearing procedure, which describes how and when an independent hearing is used for applicants who have disputes about the benefit status, amount, and application timeliness. Your fair hearing administrative procedures should be comparable to and may utilize existing processes, procedures, and systems currently in place for state, territory, or tribe LIHEAP. When developing your fair hearing procedure, review what your LIHEAP program is doing as a first step. In addition, consider that your fair hearing procedure should cover the following areas. Your fair independent hearing procedures for households whose applications are denied or where the applicant disputes the benefit amount, and when and how are applicants informed of these rights, and your fair hearing procedures for households whose applications are not acted on in a timely manner, and when and how are applicants informed of these rights. LIHWAP recipients may benefit from ensuring that their fair hearing procedures are communicated to the public on their LIHWAP website, additionally visible to any applicant that is coming into a physical office location. For example, posting the fair hearing procedure in the waiting room or at the intake worker's desk. reviewed with the applicant during application and intake procedures by the intake worker, listed on the LIHWAP application for assistance, listed on the notice of benefit determination when the client receives the notification, and provide the multi-level review procedure. For example, states could develop a process that is appealed at the local and then state level. Throughout the benefit determination and notification process, as well as during any fair hearing procedures, maintaining LIHWAP applicant and client information in a secure and organized fashion is key to program integrity. LIHWAP recipients will want to consider existing case file management policies and procedures and ensure that they are applicable to handle LIHWAP applicants and clients. A good starting point is to review what your agency is currently utilizing for LIHEAP. LIHWAP recipients could ensure that their case file management protocol includes information for which and what type of documentation must be included in a case file. Intake workers will need to document how they have screened applicants for eligibility. In doing so, make sure that your case file documentation and/or program policies and procedures include information that supports eligibility determination for LIHWAP. Things to consider including are calculations used to determine gross or net income, case notes that describe any inconsistencies between applicant information and information intake workers have obtained or reviewed during the income and identity verification process, documentation of all communication and communication attempts with the applicant, including how the intake worker requested missing or additional information for incomplete applications, and documentation that supports the steps taken by the intake worker to verify identity and income. For example, determining eligibility for LIHWAP and how that was overseen. Please remember that you will be dealing with your client's personally identifiable information, PII. Ensure case files are kept in a secure place and that your policies clearly indicate who has access to this information. If you are utilizing hard copy case files, it's recommended that the information be stored in a secured or locked location. This concludes the LIHWAP Benefit Determination and Notification webinar. By attending this webinar, hopefully you gained a better understanding of the benefit determination process, developing a benefit matrix, and establishing policies and procedures, the household priority groups and how to address their needs, the process for benefit notification, and the development and notification of fair hearing procedures. Thank you for watching this webinar.